Hey everyone, today we're going to share a story about something that happened in our world that really illustrates a couple things that we've been sharing about. One is chauvinism and how sneakily it can be hidden in your interactions in your relationships.
Or maybe it's not so sneaky.
Well, yeah. Even if, but I mean, like, even if you think you're like aware of it and
Yeah.
how it can show up. Also, I think it really shows how even what seems like the small moments or the small choices can have a really big impact.
Right. So we're Rebecca and Brad, partners in love and friends first.
Join us for some honest conversations about being real in relationship in the small and big moments so we can all create great relationships together.
So let's start this story by talking about something we've been working on with our whole family. We've been meeting with them. We've been saying, look, we really want to uphold a higher standard of care and cleanliness and order in our home. And if you've watched the previous videos about chauvinism, I was delegated myself to the maid role, and I'm done with that and need to have like the whole family coming up alongside each other to be able to really accomplish an orderly environment, but also to not have me in that role constantly of being like, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do that. And just all be like self-responsible cohorts together and have sweet family life that is lovely and cared for and maintained well. So we had these meetings with the kids, and we were really clarifying what their chores were and getting them excited about things and talking about you can earn things if you really do your responsibilities. And so we set a stage for really making a change. And then this happened.
Yeah. Well, so specifically, you had also just the day before been working with our youngest daughter on her room and really like getting that cleaned out and orderly and like setting all these things in place out of these meetings and the things we're working on. And so then one day she had to go early for an appointment, and so I was had woken up and was out in the living room kind of resting on the couch because it was real early, and our youngest daughter woke up and came out and saw that it was me there and remembered that mom was gone, and was like, oh, I think, I shouldn't tell me this, but I think what happened in her mind was, dad's here, it's fun time, fun guy time. And so what I did was something old, like an old pattern, old behavior, which I had gone to sleep on myself about all of this stuff, which is like crazy to look at now, but that's what happened. So I was like, oh yeah, dad time's fun time. Let's play video games together because she loves doing that when we're together. So we started playing video games. But what that meant, what we chose to not do, or what I chose to not, follow up and be consistent with her, is there's a series of actions and chores and such first thing in the morning, like making her bed, emptying the silverware from the dishwasher, doing a couple different things like that we've already had before and more recently set in place. Like, okay, make sure these things happen. Then you can do things like play some games or, whatever the thing she wants to do. But in this case, I, let all those things go because I was like, oh, dad's the fun guy. Like I just shifted into that role, having sort of lost or gotten to sleep on myself or lost that memory, like, because it was just this old role that just was comfortable and easy to just slide right into, and it let all that other stuff go. And so then so we're there doing that, and then Rebecca, out the window I see her van pull up, and I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get in trouble. So I'm like, hop up quick, we gotta do our things, because there was a couple of things like cleaning the dishes and emptying the dishwasher and stuff like that I could have would have done had I been in good memory of what the agreements and the consistency we had been setting up, and then had Annika do her things. And so but she was futzing around out there doing something, I don't know, watering the plants or something like that. So I got like some of it done. I was like sitting there rushing around, but of course she came in and we didn't, hadn't done those things. And it was, well, I'll let her share what, like that point. But what I noticed in kind of considering the story later was a couple things that really set up, like in me, feeling like more distant from Rebecca, because it's like now there's this difference. Like it's her job to be the bad guy or be the one who watches out for our space and keeps it clean. So I'm in trouble now. So there's this distance. She's the other. I started feeling judgmental or thinking judgmentally towards her, like, oh, it's like, why is she's a stickler for these things, and pushed, it all pushes her into the role of the maid, which we've shared about in previous videos, or that Betty Crocker role. And then also because it involved our daughter, it was teaching her those same things. Mom's the bad guy. It's mom's job. She'll make sure that, if we don't clean up, she'll do that. And that, that it's not important, that our environment's not important, that keeping things orderly isn't really important in and of itself or for our own each sense of well-being. It's really just to make sure, mom's happy or not unhappy, and that was terrible. And, it happened. And, I'm really glad to be becoming aware of it, because it seemed like such a small choice, just right. Like, let's have fun, let's do this. Where like just a shift, what seems like a small shift could have been, yeah, let's play video games and have fun, but let's do our other stuff first. And then we would have had plenty of time to do that. But instead, I made that other choice that seems like such a, subtle, potentially small choice, but has these big ramifications that, I just started to name right now.
Right. So one of them also is that because she's female, she identifies with being a woman, that is what she's going to think about. That's training her to also be the maid when she's an adult, which just, feels like crap. Mm-hmm. So we really want to make a change with this. And these small moments, like you're talking about, make so much impact because our days are made up of these small moments.
Okay, so I made a couple diagrams to illustrate how this pattern has worked and what it would look like or will look like when I do it differently. So in this first diagram, you see mom's away, that equals time to be the fun guy, so daughter comes, says, hey, mom's away, let's play video games. In this scenario, which is what actually happened, we just go straight to the video games instead of deciding to do the agreements and the chores that we had just talked about. So we're there doing that. And then I see Rebecca's van pull up in the driveway. Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble. And so I said, quick, do the silverware, do our chores, let's get that done. And there's my daughter there with a little question mark because she doesn't understand, what the heck's going on, why I'm suddenly jumped up from playing to being serious. But when that occurs, that starts a bunch of different things going on. So I feel more distant from Rebecca, like she's a separate, like we're not on the same team, and judge her as being the one who's like the stickler for being clean and, kind of like the bad guy that's got to, bring the hammer down. And then I also am teaching, this type of thing, with one of our kids, but even, with the other ones, if they're around too with things, teaching them that, someone else will just take care of it. Mom will just be the maid and clean up after them. And then also the fact that they're girls, all three of our kids are girls, they're also seeing that treatment of, a mom or a grown woman, and that's what's setting up their expectations. So a lot of unpleasant, things are set up by this, bad feelings, bad, judgmental thoughts, and then future hopelessness. Teaching them that, someone else will just take care of it. Mom will just be the maid and clean up after them. And then also the fact that they're girls, all three of our kids are girls, they're also seeing that treatment of, a mom or a grown woman, and that's what's setting up their expectations. So a lot of unpleasant, things are set up by this, bad feelings, bad, judgmental thoughts, and then future hopelessness. And then in this other diagram of what I could have done had I been in the memory of myself and the agreements and what I intend to do, in the future, you see it starts out, daughter wakes up, let's play. And the next here is after we do our chores and agreements and all the things that, we talked about as a family with mom and the other sisters. So then it's us there doing our chores, and there's some music playing because we're having a fun time doing that. And then we go on to play the video games together. And so in this next one, when Rebecca gets home, she can just, we can just include her, and she can just join in the fun if, if she wants to, because everything's on the up and up. We've completed our tasks, our chores. And so we're all on the same page, and that generates the feelings of teamwork and greater self-esteem. And it also treats Rebecca with the respect and, like she's a valuable person too, and that the agreements we made are something that's important to me as well. And it then shows our daughter that these things are important, and that it's all of our jobs to take care of our environment and to value ourselves in our environment by doing that.
So anyways, I come home, I was getting touch-ups on my permanent makeup, and then I have a few choices, right? I can come in and just want, it's like, oh, I just, my face kind of hurts. I want to go just play videos and forget about it and not have to deal with how they didn't do their stuff. So it invites me to like sloppy kind of layover type of, position where that builds up in me. And then at another point, I'm going to blow up, but I'm going to save it for later and just have fun for that moment. Or I can come in and be the cop and be like, what the heck? You haven't done your things. And, enforce them. But then again, that enforces that stereotype. And then I could do something like that would be like, okay, never mind, it's a mess in here. Let me go to a hotel and go back and, get my hair done, or go get a pedicure, or, I could do something different. I could go to my she shed and have some art time or some personal space and just leave him with the mess. In this case, I chose to bring it up to our coach because I want to just bring more attention to what we're up to and not let these inconsistencies rule, because they will rule. It's a sabotage that is installed within our thinking. We have to break it up. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, you'll see that if I'm acting in my old pattern and being dishonest, I'm going to come home, assess the situation, and decide I don't want to deal with it, and go for the relief instead of being the nice mom, being happy, and like waiting and just saying it's fine. I'll clean it up later, or they can clean it up later. Stuffing myself, and then I end up blowing up later because I've stuffed myself and cut myself off. So those thoughts that go with that are thinking that the change isn't real, that I'm not respected, and he doesn't really want it, and that I'm not worth it. All of these sets up a lot of future suffering, and then a blow up, of course. That's how that works. So in the new way of doing it, where I'm being honest and real and self-responsible to what I'm creating, I get home, I see the chore isn't done, then I have a genuine expression like, hey, what is going on? This doesn't work. In that I have thoughts that I can tell myself or review with myself that are congruent. Like, I deserve respect. I get to be met, and I get to have an environment that really works for me, and I get to create that for myself, and I will be met. Or I'll make the changes so that it does fit well. Then I create effective solution from there, and really feeling confident that I can make it. And then make sure and follow through to get the goodies. And then there's celebration, there's greater connection, there's the satisfaction of achieving something with or without my partner. It's not dependent on him. It's dependent on me, and remembering my self-worth and fully expressing myself and going after what I'm wanting. So
yeah,
what's
for sure.
next?
And, which is a cool example of the way relationship can work when you're both really focused on creating the partnership, at its best, creating a relationship that really is forward moving, where you guys, or like in our case, where we're
Yeah.
really wanting to create a new life, a new world where we're free, where we're friends, where we're just being real and honest, where like I had gone to sleep on that, she had the opportunity. It gave her a strong opportunity to go into that old also, like those things you were just describing.
Tempted, yeah.
But in this case, you had enough wherewithal to not just go into that old. And so, you know, what grew out of that? More awareness. Here we are sharing this video about it.
Right.
You know, I started to become much more aware of all those tiny little choices I have during my day to let things go with like some vague like idea that somebody else will handle it. Because anytime you don't complete something, right? Anytime I don't complete something or let something go, whether I actively think it or not, like the thought is, the message is, somebody else will handle that. And in our house, who's that somebody else? You know, that's what the role has been. So, and then I realized that, you know, because of this example, it's like at this point, it's still really easy for me to lose sight of what's going on, to fall asleep to, you know, what we're creating together, what I'm really wanting to do. So I from the suggestion of our, you know, of our relationship coach also, but I got this physical reminder. So I grabbed this bracelet that I had and started wearing it because it's different. It grabs my attention. I use my hands a lot in my work, so I see it all the time, and it helps me just in those little moments, just stay, oh yeah, there that is. Okay, yeah, right. Complete. Be real. Be honest. You know, take things to completion, and just full circle. And so, you know, it's important, whatever you need to do to keep yourself, you know, to keep like whatever I need to do to keep myself in that moment to moment memory, because, you know, those seemingly subtle things, and maybe to you guys it seems like a big, like an obvious miss, but to me at the moment it seemed like this small choice, you know, and but it has these, you know, these big ramifications. And so, you know, of course, like the obvious, or seems obvious to me, like the next time, or what I could have done was, like I said, you know, let's do our things first, so be consistent, follow through with our agreements, you know, let's empty the dishwasher, so let's get everything cleaned up and in great shape, so then we can feel good, you know, sitting down to have some fun time and do the video games and so forth. And you know, carrying that forward, what would that have created versus, you know, that feeling judgmental, or thinking judgmental towards our feeling bad, all that stuff. You know, it would have been feeling proud of our environment and having been consistent with our daughter. And when Rebecca got home, you know, maybe it would have been like, hey, we're having fun, come on and join us, rather than this division that was created by that choice point earlier.
Right. And that, I mean, that shows a lot of respect for our family when you really stay with the plan that we have and say, oh, you know, we're doing this plan. It shows respect for me, and it shows respect for our whole family and the changes that we want to make. And it shows that you're real about it.
Right.
So, I mean, I think basically we kind of, sometimes it can be easy to think, oh, this is 2020. Sexism doesn't really exist much, or our relationship's better than that. We've been, you know, awake to this for a long time. And the truth is, if it's in our habits, then we're remaking that, and it just takes what it takes to heal. And it takes enough of those choices that are consistent with what we really want to break the old patterns. So we both have it. We imagine a lot of people that are watching have these in small ways. So getting clear about what they are and really sticking with it until it's not that temptation, or until you notice a big change is just so important, and really frees you up for a different life and the real ability to be friends and partners in a whole different way.
Yeah. Well, it's like what I was sharing with you the other day when I was considering this, is like there's so many little moments throughout the day where I now that I'm like becoming aware of it, now my eyes are open to it, where it's like, you know, just thinking of, and it's all keeps coming back to cleaning, though certainly that's a big piece in our, you know, home life and stuff. But just finishing cleaning the kitchen at the end of the evening, and after dinner, it's like there's, you know, the counters to wipe down, and then the stove. And it's like each of those moments, I'm like, well, there's a little more, there's like a crumb under the toaster. I can just leave it. Oh, wait. Like, you know, I got to move the toaster and finish that job. Or the stove isn't that dirty. Maybe I can just not do it. Oh, wait, I got to make that choice. So there's all, like, like I just keep seeing all these moments where I had in the past, as when I was asleep to this, made those decisions not to complete. And what I was realizing is like there's probably at this point, because it's kind of like a newish thing, or you know, a new awareness of this piece. There's going to be a bunch of things I don't even see yet, but like there's so many that I see that I have to build. It's like, you know, building a muscle, right? You know, I have to keep making that decision to complete, to get that little crumb out from under the toaster, to wash the stove, even if there's just one tiny little spot of something on there, to build that muscle, so that it just becomes natural and more easy,
Right.
or just more consistent. But now it's like there's, you know, it's like if you never were a runner and you wanted to train for a marathon, you know, you're not going to be able to run a marathon, but you got to start where you are, and keep adding a little and adding a little, and that consistent work, practice and training.
Right.
You know, so that's what I'm up to in this is, you know, that consistent practice and training myself, and then therefore giving a different message to, you know, my partner, giving a different message to my kid and my family, my kids and my family. And you know, that's how change happens. It's not some huge, you know, moment where like, oh, I just figured this out, this is going on, and now
epiphany,
it's done.
like an intellectual process.
Learned about show business in our relationship. Okay, we're done with that. What's next? You know, it's like the moment by moment is where it's really at.
And for me, it's like I have to be honest and clear and clean. So not just be the bad cop and come down, not just lay over and pretend that it's not happening, lie to myself, and then blow up at another moment. That's no fun. But just be like straight in my spine and no, this is my environment and this doesn't work. I'm going to make a choice here that shows regard for myself and self-value and care of our family at the same time, but not like just going to clean up people's messes or just pretend like it's clean when it's not clean or whatever, you know, things like that it's just being really straight.
Totally. Yeah. So
anyways,
you know, the small moments,
yes,
each choice we make matters. It makes the next choice easier or harder. You know, each time I choose to complete something like getting that crumb out from under the toaster, if I make that choice, it's easier to make the next choice, to be complete and take something full circle. Or if I leave the crumb, it makes it easier to do the old.
right.
And, you know, that's, and each of those choices we make has an impact on our world, on our family, on our partner in a big way, you know, and it ripples out from there.
Yeah.
So
what do you guys struggle with?
Yeah.
Do you relate to this?
Totally. Like, what are those things? Like, look around your day and see all the things, you know, what are the things that, you know, invite you to not complete or to not go full circle? You know, comment about that. Let's share about it. And if we bring enough light to it, it'll help everybody, you know, do it better.
Or how do you invite your partner to the best self or to their worst self? Where do you go into thinking your partner is other and just kind of doing your own thing regardless of what you've decided together as a partnership and,
For sure.
you know,
Yeah.
context that you're coming from to build. So let us know your thoughts. Please like and share, subscribe
to the channel, put on
all
the bell
that
notifications, so we can keep building real relationships, you know, together.
All right, cool. We're Rebecca and Brad. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Take care.
Bye.